This just in. You know the exact maddening experience I'm talking about. You are halfway through a long, highly detailed conversation with an AI tool. You have set it up carefully, given it explicit instructions, and painstakingly trained it to behave in a very specific way. And then, somewhere around message 15, it just completely forgets everything you've said. It ignores the core rule you established in the first message. It aggressively reverts to its default robotic corporate tone after you just spent 6 prompts begging it to sound human. It treats a crucial piece of information you gave it 20 minutes ago like it is hearing it for the very first time. It makes a mistake so fundamentally basic that it actively contradicts the very thing it's told you in its last response. We have been repeatedly promised that these highly advanced robots are coming to permanently replace human workers. But let's be entirely honest. If an actual human employee behaved like this, we wouldn't call them a visionary replacement. We would accuse them of weaponizing their own incompetence to avoid doing the actual work, and the conversation would end with a cardboard box and a security escort. You are not imagining the sudden drop in intelligence. The forgetting is real, it is structural, and it actually gets worse the more you try to use the AI, which is the exact opposite of how a learning tool is supposed to work. So let's rip apart exactly what is breaking inside the machine, why treating ChatGPT like an unsupervised intern is ruining your business operations, and how you can stop the algorithm from actively sabotaging your marketing. By the way, if you're new here, I'm Vicky Sidler, a StoryBrand certified guide and duct tape marketing strategist from the Strategic Marketing Tribe. And I help small business owners like you build failure-proof marketing by focusing on the exact 20% of effort that drives 80% of the results. All so that your marketing stops feeling like a miserable second job you never asked for. I believe your absolute greatest competitive advantage is simply sounding undeniably human, and your greatest currency is basic trust. Because, let's be honest, if your business relies on an amnesiac algorithm to communicate your value, your marketing will eventually collapse into generic slop. You must establish secure, undeniable human authority. So download my 5-minute marketing fix to craft a powerful StoryBrand one-liner that standardizes your brand message, giving you a scalable, repeatable way to win trust without relying on a hallucinating robot. Okay, now with all of that out of the way, why is your brilliant AI weaponizing its own incompetence? Well, because it doesn't actually have a memory. It has a bucket and you are currently overflowing it. What you are experiencing has a name: context rot, sometimes called agent amnesia. And it is the single most reported frustration among heavy AI users right now. Every AI tool you use has a context window, which is essentially a fixed amount of working memory. Every single thing in your conversation, your prompts, the AI's answers, the documents you uploaded, fills up this window token by token. And when that bucket gets full, the model starts quietly losing its grip on reality. And before you say, but the new models have massive context windows, you need to understand that a bigger bucket doesn't solve the leak. It just delays the puddle. Anthropic's own engineers explicitly warned us that context is a limited resource with decreasing returns. But it gets worse. A massive Stanford study documented what they call the U-shaped performance curve. This means the model remembers everything at the beginning of your conversation and it remembers everything at the end. But everything in the middle, the careful instructions you gave in message 3, the vital correction you made in message 7, and the strict constraint you emphasized in message 11 is aggressively dumped in the trash. It holds the top and the tail and quietly deletes the middle. So what happens when your chatbot makes a single mistake? This is pretty scary. It locks onto that mistake like a heat-seeking missile and uses it to destroy the rest of your project. This is the finding that should terrify every business owner trying to automate their workflows. A massive joint study by Microsoft Research and Salesforce ran over 200,000 simulated conversations across 15 different LLMs. They found a staggering 39% performance drop when tasks were distributed across multiple turns compared to a single prompt. Models that scored 90% accuracy on a single task instantly plummeted to 60% the second it became a multi-turn conversation. But here is the truly alarming part. Once the AI takes a wrong turn, it never recovers. Incorrect assumptions made early in a chat accumulate. The model mathematically anchors to its first error and carries it forward, because every new response is built on top of the previous ones, including the screw-ups. This is why you can correct an AI mid-conversation. It will politely apologize and then do the exact same stupid thing again in the very next message. It isn't being stubborn. The original error is just sitting in the context window, competing for the model's attention. And the AI is statistically more likely to reference its older, more established mistake than your one frantic correction. Which brings us to the next question. Why are tech gurus lying to you about hands-off automation? Well, that's because there is a terrifying difference between a mildly annoying drafting tool and an autonomous system that can independently ruin your company. Right now, there is a shocking, deafening narrative being pushed by LinkedIn thought leaders, claiming you can just build these magical, completely hands-off AI agents to run your entire business while you sip margaritas on a beach. It is a complete, verifiable lie. The standard advice in the tech world is to treat AI like a helpful intern. But then these exact same people turn around and give that digital intern mission critical, completely unsupervised tasks that no sane business owner would ever give to an actual 20-year-old human. Fortune interviewed AI reliability researchers who put it bluntly. An agent that succeeds 90% of the time, but fails unpredictably on the remaining 10% is completely unacceptable as an autonomous system. You cannot have a 10% chance of your digital intern randomly forgetting its instructions and sending a degrading email to your biggest clients. Enterprise research from Clean Lab recently found that reliability is the absolute weakest layer in AI deployment right now. Fewer than 1 in 3 enterprise teams even know what their autonomous agents are actually doing. In controlled demo environments, these bots look like geniuses. But the second you put them in a real business environment filled with complexity, they turn into erratic liabilities. So how do you stop paying a human to babysit a robot? Because if you are already painfully aware of this context rot problem, you aren't actually running an automated business at all. You just have some poor, exhausted human employee who is probably still desperately trying to pay off their student debt, sitting at a desk, manually babysitting an algorithm that is actively trying to unlearn how to do its job. To survive this architectural flaw, you have to completely stop treating AI. To survive this architectural flaw, you have to completely stop treating the AI like a human employee and start treating it like a whiteboard that slowly erases itself while you aren't looking. Number 1, start fresh constantly. Treat long conversations as a massive liability. Starting a new chat for every new task eliminates accumulated errors. Number 2, put instructions at the bottom. Because of that U-shaped curve, if you have a strict rule, restate it at the bottom of your newest prompt, not just at the top of the chat. Number 3, single prompt your critical tasks. If it is a business critical operation, give the AI everything it needs in one clean, massive prompt rather than trying to slowly guide it through a conversation. You cannot afford to fully delegate your critical thinking to a machine that actively forgets it is supposed to be thinking. The AI models are getting smarter, but they are getting reliable at a fraction of the speed. If you want to survive the absolute flood of AI-generated errors and automated mistakes, you have to build an undeniable human foundation for your business. So get my 5-minute marketing fix. It is a rapid diagnostic tool that helps you use your actual unrotted human brain to craft a crystal clear StoryBrand message. It gives you a standardized, reliable system to earn authentic trust, proving to your customers that you are a competent, awake human being, not just another erratic machine waiting to break. Stop losing sales. Download the fix now. You can get it for free in the description below, or you can go to strategicmarketingtribe.com/fix. But what about you? What is your worst experience with an AI stubbornly refusing to follow a basic instruction? I'll go first. I use AI to help format my blog posts, and it inevitably gets at least one tiny, infuriating thing wrong in every single output. It is so consistently, predictably incorrect that I'm genuinely starting to wonder if it is actively weaponizing incompetence just to spite me. Okay, your turn. What is your absolute worst AI amnesia or horror story? Let me know in the comments. And by the way, if you liked this video, you might like this one too, about why Starbucks just fired its robots and why your brand needs to humanize now. And this is one that YouTube thinks you might like, so check it out and see if the algorithm is right. That's it from me. I'm Vicky Sidler from the Strategic Marketing Tribe, and I post helpful news updates for small businesses every day.